Alright, if you just give me 8 to 10 minutes of your time, I can guarantee you that by the end of this, your bad habit of doom scrolling will be gone from your life. It'll be vanished. Or you'll be doing it 10 times less than you normally do. Bro, I've gone from like 8 to 9 hours average a day, where most of it was just mindlessly scrolling, to basically no scrolling at all, so that I'm all in on my goals and immensely focused. I can make that promise to you, bro, if you just lock in, do yourself a favor, and just implement this 3-step evergreen method that I've found, which cuts out the gimmicks and is all you really need. The first step is to have a good reason why. So this is like a foundation. Like, if you're building a skyscraper is gonna fucking fall if you don't have like a good foundation below the ground, That comes first. And for this, it's to have a good reason why. Why exactly do you want to quit YouTube? Because if you have this why fortified, I realized that you get a lot of motivation that is intrinsic and you don't need to chase it. I used to watch a lot of these like motivational videos and shorts online because every time I was feeling down or I needed like some motivation, I used to watch them. And then this phase came over me where it was like, discipline, you don't need motivation, fuck them. It's like motivation is like in spikes, discipline is like drawn out. And that's like stage 2. Stage 3 is that I found a good reason why. I like fortified my reason for doing all this because I don't have an obligation to do this, Like just like you, whatever you're doing right now, whatever goals you have no obligation. Like you're actively choosing to do this. You're getting to do this, so have a good reason why. And the moment I found like my reasons why for doing what I'm doing, that foundation was hard, strong, bro. And every time I, just didn't feel like doing it or my energy was lying low or whatever, I just reminded myself of my intentions and the whys behind them. And that just gave me sparks of hope and sparks of energy again. And that just kept me going over time. So from now, I don't even need motivation or discipline. I just have a good reason why, and I find it fun. And so if you want to quit doom scrolling, you want to have a good reason why. Make sure that whatever your reason is, right, it's down to the root cause of why. Like when I first did this exercise myself, I thought like, why do I want to quit doom scrolling? Well, because I want to be more productive. Why do I want to be more productive? Well, because I want to make more progress on my goals. And then you keep going, like ask yourself why and why and why until you get to the root cause. And you will see that the why that you eventually get to will be like super personal to you. And that's kind of the why that I realized that you should keep in mind. And that will give you the most energy when you need it most. So if you don't have like a clear set out why, like right now you should be able to repeat the why to me right now, bro. Like if I ask you, why are you doing all this? You should have an answer like ready, bro. You should not have it memorized maybe, but you should just say it, Like I have my why set out, it's clear to me. I'm fully aware of it. And if you don't have a why, right now is the time for you to like click off this video or like, pause and open another tab and do some journaling or something and find your why. It takes time to find your why, especially if you're young. I realize it took me months. I mean, I thought I had like many whys before, many reasons before, but they all weren't like, they were kind of diluted and they weren't like truly to myself, I still don't think that it's fully truly to myself, because that's kind of pretentious. I know that there's always more, but have like a good, strong foundation of a why, and then we can move on to the next step. The second step is the Chatelier's principle. So hear me out. This is like something that we learned in our chemistry class. And basically it says that in a chemical equilibrium, right? Just hear me out. In a chemical equilibrium, there's forward and backward reactions. And whatever you try and do to that system, it will do the opposite. In other words, it's kind of like Newton's third law, in meaning that whenever you try and, disturb the system in a way, it will try and minimize the effect by doing the opposite. And I realized that that could be applied to doom scrolling and stuff, because when like a few months ago, when I tried to like lower down my time actively by doing all these like feel good, dopamine heavy like productivity tactics, like, I don't know, like some extensions or apps or something that's gonna like help me lower my screen time, whatever. All of those like, honestly, gimmicky stuff only made it so that I was like disturbing the system of equilibrium, and that made it so the system was reacting with doing the opposite. Fucking now it's so cold. So the more I, put effort into removing my doom scrolling habits, the more the system like retaliated by going the opposite way and making it more likely for me to succumb to these like doom scrolling habits. So that's like a thing to be aware of, I realized, because the more that you try and force something into will, the less that it's going to go and the more like opposing it's going to feel. Like, let me ask you a question. Like, have you ever felt that you're just doing something and then like it's trying to like oppose you, like it's making fun of you and mocking you in a way? Like you try and like make something your focus and it does the opposite in like a mocky way. That's exactly kind of the thing that I experienced, and I realized that this like Le Chatelier principle could be applied here. I don't know the exact like term for it, like psychological term for it, or whatever, but you can see like the same principles apply here because nature is like all interconnected and it's all intertwining. So we don't want to be like forcing our way into removing this addiction. I've seen a lot of people make that mistake, including myself. For like from like 2020, like late 2023 to early 2024, I tried to do that, a lot of it. I tried to force myself into stopping doom scrolling, and although it was like tiny amounts of results, basically nothing like long term, and it was kind of the same, nothing changed. But then I found this third step, and after reflecting and contemplating over it, I realized it's only kind of the only step that you really need. And the step is action replacement. This is the only like high ROI, high bang for buck like thing that I found that would actually help me in lowering these bad doom scrolling habits. And it's basically where I realized that after looking back at my journal entries, I realized that on the days where I didn't have much to do, where I didn't have much to work or study, and kind of just slacked off the entire day, maybe I like took a day off or was just chilling and said that, okay, I'll work hard today, the next day I'll chill. And when that next day came around, I thought I'd be, much more happy and fulfilled because it's like, I get to chill. I don't have to do anything. But it was the opposite. It was conversely the fact that I felt less fulfilled and I felt less happy those days where I didn't have much to do. And I think that if you are like a young, ambitious guy who is like purpose driven and has goals and intentions, then you might relate to me where even though you may feel like on the days where you don't do anything, you'll be much more, happy and jolly and stuff. I realize that if your goals are meant for you and if you're like, you have a good reason why, the first step, then those days will feel less fulfilling than on the days where you actually get to make progress onto your goals and get to, fulfill and start, making progress and realizing your intentions. So I thought, maybe I could apply the same thing over to doom scrolling. So instead of trying to focus my attention on removing this bad habit, I just focused on my real goals and my real intentions. And by focusing on them, I started putting more work in them, work for others, play for me, and I started making progress in them. And slowly, naturally over time, this doom scrolling habit faded away as my like true progress in my goals went up. So it was like a win-win in like all fronts. I didn't have to put much effort into removing this doom scrolling habit because I quite simply didn't care about it much. And it's kind of the same thing that you probably implemented when you quit video games. If you have been on this journey for like over a year now, you probably quit video games by now. It's mostly like, to most of an extent, a waste of time. And you simply found other stuff like self-improvement, like reading, like gym, whatever, right? That is quite simply more fun for you, that you care about more than, video games. And we can apply the same thing here by replacing the action of doom scrolling with another action, like whatever, like your goals, like progress in your goals. And it doesn't always have to be, specifically making progress onto your goals. It can be also social events, it can be socializing, it can be fun, whatever. Just have an action that you substitute it with, and just naturally don't have time to succumb to doom scrolling. Like I realized especially like the summer holidays, school wasn't there, so that's a huge focus off my plate. I had a much more freedom because, I was ledig. So I spent all that time trying to make progress onto my goals, but since I didn't have enough on my plate, since I wasn't going deep into my progress, a lot more doom scrolling, a lot more screen time happened during those days. But now I've found a solution. It's to replace the action with actions that are meaningful to you and that are purposeful to you. As always, bro, your potential is only limited by your intention. Take it, man.